California and Florida have had a lot in common during the housing crisis. Both have had record numbers of foreclosures and are consistently among the top 5 in foreclosure states. But that's where the similarities end. California's housing market seems to be on the mend, while Florida continues to struggle. For more on why, we're joined by Bruce Stuart, a foreclosure attorney based in California, and Shari Olefson, a foreclosure attorney out of Florida. Bruce, I'm going to start with you. You know, home prices are up. Unemployment is still really high. Are things that much better in California?
No. I am surprised to hear that things are better in California, because they're not. All we see is more foreclosures coming in every day. The only reprieve we had was when Bank of America put all the foreclosures on hold last month, so that would be the reason there were less foreclosures in California. But foreclosures are not down, and the housing prices are not up.
But I guess, Bruce, the argument, though, is that California's foreclosure process is a little bit simpler. Does that help at all?
Well, it's a lot simpler, and it also gives the it eliminates the problem with deficiency judgments, where people can be sued by the lender for whatever the deficiency was between what the house sold for and what they actually got. But right now, California, the situation in California is a lot simpler, but it's really not that much better than Florida.
Yeah, I mean, Shari, down in Florida, you have an unemployment rate which is pretty close to California's, 11.9%. 1 in 155 homes are in foreclosure right now. The problem, I guess, is that Florida is a recourse state, which just means you have a little bit more liability going through the process.
You know what, Tracey, that adds a little bit to the problem, because borrowers just don't want to negotiate. It's a lot harder to do a short sale. It's a lot harder to do a deed in lieu of foreclosure. They're not going to settle in a foreclosure case because they don't want to be responsible for that deficiency. And they're hoping that if they can fight the foreclosure as long as possible, it will give them leverage against the lender. But the other thing is, Florida, our prices here have still not bottomed. And at least in California, some of the bigger metropolitan areas have seen price increases for the past 5 quarters or so. Here in Florida, we still have a negative equity ratio, which means the number of people who owe more on their mortgages than their home is worth, of more than twice the national average. So until those prices bottom, we're going to still see more and more people walking away from their homes.
Yeah, and Shari, is that part of the problem, that because the foreclosure process requires me to be liable, a short sale isn't even an option, because I, as the original owner, am still liable for the difference of that sale, aren't I?
Right. Well, it's something that can be negotiated, and some lenders will negotiate. Some of them, they'll split the difference. But I would say in most cases, that deficiency amount, the amount that's the difference between what the lender will get if they sell the home and what you actually owe on your mortgage loan, is the biggest obstacle to working out some kind of a foreclosure alternative.
Yeah, and Bruce, you mentioned earlier that the government halted foreclosures for a bit, so the numbers popped a little. We saw good numbers last month. I got to presume that you're expecting them to fall again, that more and more people will fall into foreclosure in the next couple months.
Yes, I am, and we're getting calls every day from people whose houses are going into foreclosure. There's been a lot of notices of default, I've noticed, in the last couple weeks since the foreclosure freeze was lifted.
Shari, the home prices in Florida are unfortunately still falling. It very well could be, though, that California just happened to hit bottom earlier, and they started in the housing process earlier as well. So Florida is just a little bit behind the 8 ball. I'm not necessarily sure it's any worse off, though. Do you think so?
You know what? I'm living here in Florida, so all I can tell you is it certainly feels it, Tracey. It really feels tough for a lot of people.
And Bruce, I'll ask you a similar question. Do you feel like it's getting any better? I mean, yes, we do see home prices up in California, but it's all relative, right? They've been so dramatically low.
Well, I did feel that things were getting worse over the summer. The lenders just seemed like they were trying to foreclose on everything. They were rejecting short sales with reasonable offers. They're rejecting almost all loan mods right now. But then all of a sudden, the foreclosure freeze hit, this robo-signing thing hit, and all of a sudden things have gotten a little better in the last month or so, but I'm not sure if that's going to continue.
And Shari, quickly, we had a paperwork fiasco, as you know, through the whole robo-signing foreclosure process. Hopefully we've cleared through that. Do you actually anticipate things will get better or worse in the next coming weeks?
Well, I really don't think we're over that robo-signer hump yet. I mean, I think the elections came on the tail end of that, and things are still just settling in after that. We'll have to see. The biggest investigation so far is that nationwide attorney general investigation by attorney generals from all the states, and a lot of those attorney generals, including ours, Bill McCollum here in Florida, and Richard Cordray in Ohio, who were leading this initiative, were not reelected. So we'll have to see what happens after January to that investigation. I don't think we're done with the robo-signer issue. And what's amazing to me, Tracey, is that, our own investigators really just missed it. They missed it at the federal level. They missed it at the state level. Fannie Mae was actually in there at the scene of the crime, and they missed it. So we'll have to see how that plays out.
Yeah, and I suppose everyone is still scratching their heads wondering why Fannie and Freddie have not gotten the proverbial slap on the wrist for all this. Bruce, Shari, thank you so much. Good luck to both of you, because I know both your states are struggling.
Take care.
Thank you, Jerry.
Thanks.
Coming up, they thought they were making a